Hi guys and gals, One Wild Survival here. I'm going to talk about one of the reasons to start getting prepared to either bug in or bug out. In today's world, we have so many things to worry about, but let's look back at some of the history of our Earth. In 1859, the Sun unleashed a massive coronal mass ejection, CME, that struck the Earth. While our atmosphere deflected some of those charged particles, our Earth's magnetic shield warped, buckled, and broke, which allowed a lot of the charged particles to slam into the Earth. Some of you may remember in 1989 when a CME knocked out the power grid in Quebec, Canada. This left about 6 million people without power for about 9 hours. The CME of 1859, it knocked out all telegraph and power worldwide, which started serious fires. The Aurora Borealis, also known as the Northern Lights, were visible as far south as Cuba, and in the United States you could read the newspaper in the middle of the night. The 1859 CME took 18 hours to arrive at Earth, and was 3 times more powerful compared to the 1989 CME that took 36 hours. So the point I want to make here is if we get a CME this powerful today, our cars, computers, power grids, communications might well be lost. And it's estimated to take about 3 to 4 years to repair the damage at a cost of $1 to $2 trillion. It is predicted that the Sun will have an extremely high amount of activity in 2012 or 2013 in the form of sunspots. We could have a huge sunspot slam into us next week, next month, next year. Who knows when the big one might nail us, but we all need to be prepared for the dark ages. Here's a little bit more information on sunspots and how they work and affect. So here's our sun's current images as of the making of this video. And if you guys see this sunspot activity, which are those little dark patches, there's not much going on the sun. And right now we're at a solar minimum, which means there's really no activity. But we're getting ready to head into a solar maximum here real soon. So you're going to start seeing a lot more activity on that sun's surface as far as patch sizes and number of patches. So that's what we're kind of really getting worried about here. So here's the particle imager satellite, and this is actually the satellite that's watching for those coronal mass ejections, and it's looking at those particles that are coming at us. And here in a second you're going to see just above that center part of that filter, you're going to see a coronal mass ejection, and then you're going to see a lot of particles bouncing off this thing. Those are the particles that are actually going to be hitting the Earth and then traveling down and creating the auroras. And the big concern is to have an 1859 event where you have all these particles hitting the Earth at such a fast speed and such a quantity that it's actually going to start knocking stuff out. So here's the bands on the Sun, which is creating those sunspots. And what you're going to see is from the core of the Sun, these magnetic fields are going to be coming out, and there it creates the sunspot. And then as these bands build, they're building energy. And eventually they're going to get so much energy built up that they're going to have to escape. And then all these charged particles come flying at us as a coronal mass ejection. Well, here's another look at a coronal mass ejection and what a coronal mass ejection can do to our Earth's magnetic field. So out of your sunspot, you're going to get this coronal mass ejection. It's going to hit the SOHO satellite, and then after that it's going to hit the Earth's magnetic field. And you're going to see it bend and then buckle, and finally it's going to break, and then all those charged particles go flying back to the Earth, and that's what creates your aurora.